Hello, everybody. Episode 106 of Weight Loss Wednesday.
This is take 2. Rithvik, if you're there, be the first one to comment if our orientation is correct. Because it is correct as far as we can see. So we don't know why we were sideways. It takes a moment for them to comment. Swipe left. Better
Okay.
Now. Thanks, Angie. Okay.
Angie, let's go. We want to get the show on the road.
Perfect.
Here.
Thank you guys so much. All right, let's get started.
I'm ready to
Hey,
eat.
guys, I'm back in the kitchen with Kenny. Welcome to Weight Loss Wednesday, episode 105, the holiday recipe version. I'm Chef AJ, the creator of the Ultimate Weight Loss Program, and this is where I answer your questions about healthy, permanent, and sustainable weight loss. And today I'm going to show you recipes. These recipes are not in my new book, The Secrets to Ultimate Weight Loss, because I literally just made them up. So a lot of people want eggnog, and eggnog is not a very health-promoting food, especially non-vegan eggnog. It's eggs and cream and sugar, and even vegan eggnogs have a bunch of oil and sugar and stuff like that. Well, if you look at one of my previous YouTubes from my first YouTube show, The Chef and the Dietitian, on episode 50, the Thanksgiving episode, I made a really delicious eggnog that was vegan and without oil and without sugar. It was made with dates and cashews, but it was really high fat and it had a lot of dates. And for a lot of people, that just doesn't work. It's not that nuts are unhealthy, but a lot of people can't moderate the use of nuts and they can't seem to lose weight when they eat them. So I wanted to come up with a version that tasted as good as the high fat, high date version, but that was not based on fat and sugar. So that is what I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to answer a few questions that came in, and then I'm going to show you a second episode of how to turn this delicious vegan eggnog into ice cream. And so I have to have Kenny here because he's my best taster. All right, so we're starting, again, I'm using a Vitamix because that's what I have. I also have the Blend Tech. I always tell people when they say, well, what blender should I get? What air fryer? What pressure cooker? Always get the best you can afford. I do love the blenders that have the tamper. The Instant Pot now has a wonderful blender that makes great hot soups. Sharon McRae uses it. It's got a tamper, so that's less than $100 at Walmart, but I happen to have this wonderful Vitamix, so that's what I'm using. But this does not require a lot of blending with things like ice, so if you had a $20 blender, it would work. So in the blender canister, I already have my liquid, 2 cups of almond milk. You can use any non-dairy milk you like. I'm using an unsweetened vanilla, but any non-dairy milk you personally like is fine. Preferably get a brand without oil or sugar. Some of them it's hard to find without salt unless it's soy milk, but I have found almond milks now that have just almonds and water, or almonds, water, and vanilla. 2 cups of almond milk right here. So now I'm going to add my seasonings, and right here I have a half a teaspoon each of vanilla powder and nutmeg that I pre-measure. So a lot of people say, what vanilla powder do you use? I just go on Amazon and I Google vanilla powder and I get whatever they have in stock that doesn't have any sugar or weird stuff. This brand is called Wild Vanilla Powder. It's very expensive, but a little bit goes a long way. And it's cheaper than using vanilla beans. Basically, vanilla powder is ground vanilla beans. I don't use extracts too much anymore because at True North I can't use the alcohol-free one because it has glycerin, which is sugar, and the ones with alcohol that don't have sugar have alcohol, so I just started using vanilla powder. If you don't put it in, it still will taste fine. I've made it without the vanilla powder, but it just gives it that extra, like, oomph. Okay, so I'm just using an organic nutmeg, ground nutmeg from Whole Foods. If you want to get all fancy, you can get the nutmeg and just kind of grate it yourself. There's a tool that you use, where is that called? What's it called, Kenny, the tool?
It's like a rasper?
Yeah, microplane, exactly. So
thing.
if you want, you can be real fancy and just grate the nutmeg yourself.
And how much nutmeg do you want in there?
So I'm using a half a teaspoon. There are people that really don't care for nutmeg, in which case you can actually omit it if you use this other seasoning that I'm going to talk about in a minute, or you can use more. So I'm using a half a teaspoon. That's what works for me. Now this next ingredient is completely optional. This is fake, and I know that. That's why I'm not saying you have to use it. We're going to use it today because this really is what gives it an alcohol flavor. I've used this, I did it at parties, and people thought there was really rum in it, and they pretended to be drunk. This is an imitation rum extract. I'm using a teaspoon, but again, feel free to omit it. It still tastes delicious without it, but if you're with people that are drinkers, put it in, they'll think that it's real. You could probably go to a cake decorating store and get like some kind of an essential oil that has a rum or brandy flavor. But again, I have made this without the vanilla powder, without the rum extract, just with the nutmeg, and it was amazing. So now how I'm going to turn it into eggnog? I don't have my cashews, right? Well, I'm going to show you my secret ingredient in a minute. Now, hopefully you guys can guess. If you know me, you can guess the secret ingredient. But I'm not going to put that many dates in. Now this may not be sweet enough for Kenny because he still eats some real stuff now and then, real vegan treats. But for me, I was a pastry chef at a restaurant for 5 years. And when you do baking, everything is weighed. So it's not about restriction, weighing and measuring like in the food world, but it's just that's what we do. The salt, the baking powder, the baking soda. Well, I didn't use salt, but we weighed everything. So it's easier for me to be consistent if I weigh what I'm doing because people measure differently. So for example, these dates, these are about 6 or 7 dates. I'm using 2 ounces of dates, but some people could measure it by packing it, and that's why I don't go by measurements, I go by ounces. So I'm using, this is 7 Deglet Nord dates. It's about 120 calories from dates if you're obsessed with calories, but that's about the equivalent of 2 tablespoons.
And you can find these dates
sugar
at Costco
by
looking at this little bag right
and
there.
always squeeze them like Kenny said to make sure that there's not a pit because you don't want to damage the sharp blade of your blender.
And you don't want to throw it away because it has pit.
Right. Can anybody guess what my secret ingredient is?
No one's guessed yet.
All
Maybe
right.
Jackson, Florida.
Well, my secret
Out in New
ingredient
York.
is 10 ounces of roast Hannah Yam. Now, some parts of the country, they're called Jersey yams, but these are the white ones. These are not the orange ones that traditionally people think of as sweet potatoes. These are the most, I mean, it's between this and the Japanese, between my favorite. These may be my favorite. These are a little bit less sweet than the Japanese, but these are a kind of beige on the outside and white on the inside. You want to roast it, you let it cool, and then you peel it. And so we're using a little bit more than like a rounded 1 cup. It actually is 10 ounces of the Hannah Yam. And we're going to put that in, and don't ask me why, but this tastes like eggnog. So we're going to blend it in our high-powered blender or whatever blender you have. Yep, always good to turn it on. A little festive holiday glass.
Where can you find
Christmas
Hannah
cheer.
Yams?
I find them at every single grocery store in the world. Now this is really, really, really thick.
Wait, we need to see it a little better. You were
Okay.
too quick.
Sorry, really, really thick.
Thick. We need to add some milk to that.
You could add some more milk, but I love it thick and creamy like a milkshake because we're actually going to turn this into ice cream in a minute.
Okay.
But yes, you could add some more. You could definitely add some more liquid if you wanted to make it thinner. You want me to? You want yours a little thinner, Kenny?
Well,
I'll do it.
let's just take it as it is because we're going to make ice cream out of it.
Yeah, but he wants if you want it a little thinner. But see, I think it's delicious like this. It's more like a milkshake. And then what you might want to do is take a little bit of nutmeg and sprinkle it on top so that it can look traditional.
Oh,
and
see.
oh my God, this smells so good. Kenny, why don't you taste it?
I can't see it.
I can hold the camera
Just
while
looking at there. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
There we
Sorry,
go.
guys. So if you want to taste it,
Mhm.
you can, or I can put the camera on you and you can wish everybody happy holidays while I tell you what I'm going to do with this now. Does it taste like it did Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving, you had the nut version.
Mm-hmm.
It's good, right?
Yeah, this is like a...
It's delicious.
Yeah.
It's like the best milkshake ever. So
like
what
a
I'm going
cake.
to do...
It's like a custard.
Isn't it good? This is better than real eggnog. So what I'm going to do is these are silicone ice cube trays. This one's big. We could use this, but for purposes of what I'm going to do later in the Champion Juicer, I'm going to take these. I just bought these on Amazon. You can get them at Bed Bath & Beyond. And now I'm going to pour this into my ice cube trays. I'm going to freeze it. And then a little bit later in this episode, we are going to make the most delicious eggnog.
It tastes
ice
really good. It tastes like a custard since it's so thick.
Isn't it good? We could, if you want it thinner, you can.
Shirley was asking me how does it taste, so that's what I'm saying.
So what I'm using here is something called an offset spatula. They're not very expensive, but if you do any baking, they're really great because you can really level things off.
For everyone online that says, look, you can find them at Whole Foods. If you can't find them on Whole Foods, you can go online and order them online.
Yeah, you can order them
Hannah
online. I
Yams.
have never not seen Hannah Yams at Whole Foods all year round, and I've never not seen them at my local Ralph's, which is the same as Kroger, and I've never not seen them in Asian markets. So, if you live somewhere you can't get them, I'm sorry about that, because this is not going to work with the orange one. And it might taste good, but it won't taste and look like eggnog. So we just want to fill every little nook and cranny of this, and then we are going to freeze it. And luckily,
don't use your hand. Use the spatula next time, okay?
I'm eating this, so don't worry. You're not going to get this one.
I'm just telling the people here because we can do it AJ way.
I know. Well, we're in a hurry, so we're just going to freeze this up. And when it's frozen, I'm going to pop these cubes out, and you could put them in your Vitamix with a little bit of liquid, but I'm going to show you how to do it with a Champion juicer. And this is like so delicious. And again, if you want it a little thinner, if you're serving it as eggnog, please do. But for ice cream, there really is no reason for it to be thinner. I probably should have gone in 2 things. Now, give me your cup. I'll give you a little more. It's good, huh? Mm-hmm. It is good. Okay, so I'm going to level it off. Put it in Kenny's glass.
Has much better availability of veggies than some parts of the country.
Yes. Well, that's why we must all move to California.
But they have Hannah Yams in Maryland across the country. They have.
You know where we couldn't find Hannah Yams was when I was in Denver. Where I was teaching at Kelly Williamson's Plant-Based Summit. And it was a recipe in one of my things because I use them. I use Hannah Yams in my cinnamon buns that are good for your buns. And I use them in my double strata, and people couldn't find it. So there we go.
Cinnamon buns are good for your buns?
So now I'm going to put this in the freezer, and I'll be back in a moment to show you what to do, but I want to answer today's question. Okay.
So do we have questions?
Yes, we do.
Someone's coming to California. Who's that?
Okay, who's coming to California?
Lily's. Is it Lily coming to California? Oh, okay, Eileen is coming to California.
All right. So the first question comes from Mark. And he said, could I please show my car pack, what I travel with? And I said, well, I've already done a free webinar, how to eat healthfully anywhere, which you can find on my website, eatunprocessed.com, which if you go to, please sign up to be on my mailing list, or on my YouTube page. He goes, well, I don't think you showed it. So maybe I did, maybe I didn't, I don't know, but it's my pleasure to show it anyway. So this is what I call my car pack. So in other words, this is always in my car because I'm very rarely somewhere without my car, or if then I'll take it with me. So if you're a guy, maybe you want to get one that doesn't look like this. But Sharon McCrae gave this to me for a gift a long time ago. The brand name is Zaza, Z-A-Z-A. It's probably at least 5 years old. Sharon, I need another one. Hint, hint. No, I'm kidding. It's fine. But this looks like a purse. And so what's great about it is if I go to the movies, I can just go in with it because they don't question it because it looks just like a purse. But it's actually a cooler. So he wanted me to show what I travel with and how much food. And the reason I can't do that, Mark, is it depends how long the flight is. If I'm just going on a 45-minute flight to Las Vegas, I'm probably going to take a lot less food than if I'm, flying to New York. And if I have it like a layover. But this is the basics that are in my car pack, not the fresh stuff, which I'm going to add. So just to show you, I've got this little side pocket here. I always have a napkin, at least one. I always have several pieces of silverware, usually a couple of forks and a couple of spoons. And sometimes I bring my own, like real silver, but I always end up losing them. And then at the side pocket, I always keep my essential oils. And the two that I travel with is peppermint. And one of the reasons is because if I'm tired, I don't use stimulants like coffee. This stuff, man, like if I'm driving in LA at night after my improv class, this really wakes you up. So I always have peppermint, and I always have clove. And the clove oil we talked about, I believe it was episode 72 or 74 if you're having cravings. I've never had to use it, but it's just a nice insurance policy. I get these little bottles so that I can have some of it with me and some of it somewhere else. So that's what I have in the side pocket. Now in the cooler pocket right here, oops, that's not the cooler pocket. I don't have anything right now because I'm not really going anywhere, but there is room right here for my ice chip, which was, I got it at the 99-cent store, and for whatever I need to keep cold, which is probably some vegetables, some potatoes. Fruit doesn't necessarily have to be kept cold, so I'll just, and by the way, this expands quite a bit, so I'll be able to get quite a lot in here. I'm not going anywhere. That's why I can't show you. I'm going to True North on Sunday, and then come back Sunday, and I'll show you.
But you already have food because you have food when you get there.
Right, but I listen, one time it took me 24 hours to get home from True North, so that's when I learned to always carry 24 hours worth of food or 24 hours worth of calories with me when I travel. So, what else I have in here is, this is when I have dehydrated stuff. So I generally don't eat dehydrated food because without the water I don't have the satiety, but these are calories that in case of emergency I will eat. So one of the things I always have is a bag of dehydrated sweet potatoes. Now you get these at some Costco's. If you don't have a Costco near you, you could write the company. So Kusa, I was able to buy a case from them, or maybe there's another company. These aren't the most delicious thing in the world, but they're 300 calories, and this is going to hold me over so I don't have to make an excuse to go off plan, because what you need when you're hungry is starch. Fruits and vegetables are generally pretty easy to find anywhere, airports, even 7-Eleven. So I've got 300 calories of dehydrated sweet potatoes. I've got another 300 calories of dried bananas with just bananas. And I got 150 calories of dried beet chips. So is this the best meal that I could eat? No, but I got 750 calories, so there's no excuse for me to say, oh, I had to eat off plan because there was no food. And so this is my emergency food that I always have with me. Now, I also carry some starch cookies. I did this, I believe it was episode 70 of, I can't remember my episodes, but I did this in one of the episodes. I showed you how to make this recipe in my book. In the book, they're called pumpkin pie bites. These are, I call them starch cookies because they're not very sweet, even though there's some banana in them. They're mostly starch. So I have starch cookies in there. And then I also carry a small bottle of my green powder to alkalize my palate, or to have when I can't find vegetables for breakfast, like on the cruise. So all this fits in this purse cooler that's not even that big. And the other thing I carry is a 3-ounce bottle of balsamic vinegar. You see, TSA will allow 3 ounces to go through, and California Balsamic makes these cute little bottles. They make them in 3 ounces, and they actually also make them in 1.6 ounces, so that you could, I'm worried if I carry 2 1.6 ounces, that's 3.2 ounces, and I don't want TSA to take them. But these are wonderful little bottles that you can just like put in your pocket when you go to a restaurant very discreetly and have enough for your salad or your veggies and rice. So I love these bottles because they're plastic and they don't break, and so I have this in my cooler. Now, speaking of California Balsamics, they actually have now on their website, California Balsamic, Chef AJ's pack, Chef AJ's favorite, under gift sets. So they have 5 flavors of savory ones. They have lots of flavors and they're all good, but my favorite are the savory ones. And if you go on their page of California Balsamic under gift set, Chef AJ's favorite, you can get a set of my 5 favorites. And I talked to Thomas today, and he said if you live on the East Coast, I think he said east of the Mississippi, and you order by tomorrow, you will get it by Christmas. It would make a great gift. And if you live on the West Coast, you have, I believe, until Friday to order and get it by Christmas. But my 5 favorite flavors are the raspberry flame, the Gilroy garlic, the teriyaki balsamic, which I showed how to use in a YouTube, the sweet heat, and my all-time favorite, the blazing habanero. And so check out this gift pack. Now, if you want a sweet vinegar, then my favorite is from Chef Terry.
Oh yeah.
The grapefruit is my absolute favorite for salad. This is my absolute favorite. As you can see, I buy the big bottle with the little thing, but I can't travel with this. So what I do is, she sells these little bottles. They are glass, so I don't take them in the carry-on, but I do use some bubble wrap in my suitcase, and then I pour the large bottle of the grapefruit into the smaller bottle, and so I will have that at my location as well. But what I like about the 3-ounce bottles is that they're exactly 3 ounces, and I've had no trouble getting them through TSA. So it's very easy for me to pack up my food, and that's what I always have with me, you know, and that's why I never have an excuse to eat off plan, because and actually this is 750 calories. This is probably like another, I don't know, this is really enough calories for the day in here, even without anything that I would add. So Mark, that's my car pack. But if I'm traveling, then I'm going to add another cooler to the mix. And this was from Target. This was not very expensive. I got a.
This is more dude friendly.
Yeah, this one is actually, you're right, more dude friendly. And then I could fit a lot of stuff in here. I'll put my sweet potatoes in here. I'll put my vegetables in here. And usually TSA looks at it and says, "Ma'am, is this your food for the week?" And I'll say, "No, it's for the day." And then I'll take both of these and I'll put it in this amazing bag that Linda Middlesworth got me from Sackroots. It's a vegan bag. And I always carry my little...
What makes it a vegan bag?
It's not leather or any animal product. I carry little masks with me that I get at the hospital where I volunteer, so I don't have to catch people's cooties on an airplane. And then I can easily put this one in there and this one in there. And believe it or not, there's still room in here for my 3-quart Instant Pot. So that's basically how I travel. Are there any questions before I go on to the next recipe?
Put glass bottles in a shoe and check-in luggage.
Great idea. I usually just use bubble wrap. I've never, and that works really good for me.
Okay, so some people are finding these Hannah Yams in Virginia, but they're not finding them in where Ginny lives in.
Well, then they'll have to maybe do the. Then I don't know what to
places.
tell you. I'm really sorry. You can always order them online. I've seen
Order
them on
online.
Amazon, or just make the version on episode 50.
Split them up with your friends.
Yeah, episode 50, Chef of the Dietitian. It will be high fat. And you know, just to go on record, I have nothing against nuts. I would really encourage you to watch Jeff Nelson's series of videos that he's putting out now on YouTube. Jeff Nelson from VegSource, about the research on nuts. How, guess who it's funded by? The nut industry. And that nuts are healthy. And it's fine if you want to eat them, but they're not this panacea that people think that it's going to prevent heart disease or dementia. Really look at the research the way that Jeff Nelson is going into it.
So what website can we get Hannah Yams on?
Just Google it Google it, and I've seen them on Amazon. I don't know the name of the website, but I've seen them online.
And Karen Phillips, she does take her Instant Pot on the plane in her.
Yeah, it fits right under the seat.
The small little 3-ounce
yeah,
one.
And even when I was carrying the 6-quart, the 6-quart also fit under the seat. So this is just a way to have, it's a starch-based beverage, and it really does taste like alcohol. It tastes like eggnog.
It did. It was good.
Any other questions? Or
There's no questions. Where's the questions now?
I don't know. Let's see.
Besides,
let me
where
go
can
get
I find Hannah
the
Yams?
stuff. All right, Hannah Yams, I get them at Whole Foods, guys. What can I tell you? All right, so now.
Check out Azure Standard from Oregon. They deliver in many states and do not charge for delivery. So that's good now.
Okay, so now we're going to turn it into ice cream. So
ice cream.
The ones that I just made, it's not quite frozen, but when it's frozen in the cubes, you just pop it out, and then I keep it in a Ziploc bag. And you could eat this, you could just like eat this as a little delicious cube, but let me show you how to make it into ice cream. So this is a champion juicer, and in my opinion, if you really want the creamiest ice cream, this is even better than the Vitamix or the Yonanas or anything. So this is actually a juicer, and it comes with this little screen where the juice comes out, but it also comes with something called the blank. And when you put the blank in, now you have an ice cream machine. So, and you'll also, by the way, if you watch my show Healthy Living with Chef AJ, you can actually make nut butters in this. It's amazing. So we put the machine together. It's very easy to put together. And then we have this cute little ice cream cup for Kenny with a cute little spoon that I got. And I'm going to turn the machine on, and you could do this in your Vitamix, but then you're going to have to add liquid. It's not going to be so thick and creamy. So I'm going to turn it on.
Would the Omega work the same way as the Champion Juicer? If it's this type that I forgot what they call this. What do they call this?
It's a masticating juicer.
It's a masticating juicer versus a juicer.
It's not a centrifugal juicer.
Centrifugal, big words.
But you can see how thick this is coming out. It's like incredible. I mean, the texture, Charles loves this.
Getting close up. Whoa.
If you thought it tasted good when you drank it, wait till you taste it as ice cream. Whoops. I cleaned my counter. We can't let that go to waste. I know that like the companies make eggnog flavored ice cream this time of year, and this is
better.
This is so much better.
No sugar at all.
Just dates.
Just dates. And since I'm looking for a date, this might be a good date for today.
Yeah, so when are one of you viewers going to go out with Kenny? Boom, 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 boom.
So
Okay.
what's the ingredients again? Just a review for some of these people,
It's
our viewers.
non-dairy almond milk. Look
One.
at that. You want me to? Here.
Non-dairy almond milk.
Okay, guys. Here's Kenny and
Oops,
the ice
we got
cream.
the wires here.
There's Bailey on the floor. Hey, Bailey. Oh, she's getting up. So Kelly,
So we got non-dairy almond milk. We have some nutmeg. And
nutmeg.
We have some dates.
We have some dates. We have Hannah Yams,
Yams.
and the optional ingredient
is that
the
rum flavor.
imitation rum extract. Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
I know. It's even better than the eggnog, isn't it?
This is better than the stuff you buy in the store that has so on it.
I know. And Kenny wouldn't lie, guys. He's a realtor, so he wouldn't lie.
This is good. This is really good.
Thank you. You want to finish the show? Or do you guys have any questions
go.
for Kenny? Or for me? She just introduced it to me. All right. So anything you guys want to talk about? I'm going to show you what my hat
This
really,
is really
looks
good.
like. I know it
It's
is.
cold too.
It's cold. So,
Oh my gosh.
So what I'll do is
Brain freeze.
as soon as the show's over, I'll make another serving because Charles really does love this. Let me show you my hat. It's actually more than what you think. But I didn't want to.
Of course, it has Scooby ears.
This is from Disneyland, and so it's actually a Goofy hat.
Goofy hat.
So I didn't want people to think I grew my hair. So this might be I'll be at True North the next 2 weeks. If I can go live for the next 2 Wednesdays, I will. I hope to have some pre-recorded episodes or something so that we don't miss a Wednesday. I want you guys to have a really healthy, happy, preferably abstinent holiday season. You can do it. Many of you got through Thanksgiving, you got through Halloween without going off plan. Christmas, it's just another day. It's just Tuesday. I will try to live stream as much as possible from True North. A lot of times the speakers let me live stream the episodes, so just come to this page. If you have your notifications turned on, I'm not sure how that works. You'll know when I go live. I can't check Facebook messages, guys, because I don't have a personal page. And if you follow me on Instagram, I have no idea how to use Instagram. So if you send me a personal message on Instagram or Facebook, just assume I'm not getting it because I'm not. Best way to contact me is through my website, eatunprocessed.com. But I hope you enjoy the eggnog because it's starch-based. You know, the Ultimate Weight Loss Program is a starch-based program, and we love starch, and we don't limit starch, and we believe that starch makes us thin because those of us that eat it all seem to be getting thin and eating lots of food. And I know today on the Ultimate Weight Loss page, someone was saying that they can't eat starch or can't eat as much starch as they want and lose weight. I've never seen anybody that picked a starch that was very calorie dilute, like winter squashes, like kabocha squash or Hubbard or acorn or delicata or butternut squash as their starch, that couldn't eat as much of that they wanted and still lose weight. Yes, there are people that don't seem to do well with grains, and some people not even with beans, which are of a much higher caloric density. But I've never had a client unsuccessful if their starch was the winter squashes, and if they were sequencing their meals, and if they were narrowing their feeding window to about 6 to 8 hours a day. Now, by the way, I'm not recommending everybody do this because most people can just eat ad libitum to the left of the red line and end up pretty lean. And starch is what keeps you happy and satisfied. Starch is to the hunger drive what oxygen is to the breathing drive. But if you've really been doing the Ultimate Weight Loss Program really, truly, and really don't believe you're having success, you know, first of all, go to True North. We've never had anybody not lose weight there, which is basically where I learned this diet. But the other thing you can do is nobody needs to eat 3 meals a day. Nobody. You know, our ancestors didn't. 2 is enough for almost everybody, unless you're young and very active and an athlete. Most people do fine with eating just twice a day. I eat just twice a day. Snacks, you don't need to be snacking. If you're snacking, you're either eating for reasons outside of hunger or because you didn't eat enough starch. But, you know, keeping your feeding window to anywhere from 6 to 9 hours a day, which means, you know, some people like to do it in the morning and eat early and stop eating around 2 or 3 o'clock. Some people like to wait until 11 or 12 to eat their first meal and finish their last meal by 5 to 6. But if you do that and you make every meal start with a large raw salad of about a pound of any non-starchy vegetables you want, you can use some dressings. You can use, you know, some of these delicious vinegars. I mean, if you don't use the whole bottle, but they're like, you know what, like 18 to 36 calories a tablespoon, you know, a couple of tablespoons. You eat that huge raw salad, and then you follow it with another huge serving of steamed greens, which is about 200 calories, and then you eat a pound of kabocha squash. You've eaten not even 600 calories, but you're going to be full, and you do that in the second meal. never seen anybody not lose weight doing that. So don't give up on the starch. Just eat a lot of veggies first. Eat them in the order I told you: raw, followed by steamed, followed by starch. And keep your starch to the winter squashes, which are about 365 calories per pound. We've never seen people not be able to lose weight and eat huge, huge volumes of food. As a matter of fact, that's only 1,200 calories a day. That's probably not enough. You're probably going to need to add a pound of fruit to that for about 300 just to have enough calories to do what you need to do. So if there's no more questions, we'll make some more ice cream.
We have a couple detailed people asking, what model number is this juicer?
What model number? Let's
It's a
see.
champion.
I don't think, let's see. It says serial number. No, the serial number's not the model number. Guys, I don't know. It's just Champion Juicer. I literally Googled lowest price Champion Juicer, free shipping. This was under $200. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know the model number. It's, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so guys, happy, healthy holiday seasons. If you need more support with your Ultimate Weight Loss Program, or just in general, consider joining the Ultimate Weight Loss Program, and make sure you're on my mailing list at eatunprocessed.com, because on January 1st, we will be announcing our speakers for the next live Ultimate Weight Loss Conference at the Tuscany. Kenny will be there August 30th, 31st, and September 1st. I know you're going to love our speaker so much. I'll give you a hint. The speaker is a best-selling author. That's all I'm going to tell you for right now.
I'm sure.
Yeah, really, really, really right on line with what we're teaching. And that's it. I really appreciate you, your interest in my work. If it helps you, I'm very happy that it does. And just eat starch and be happy. I do believe you can have both the health and the body you so richly deserve. I'm Chef AJ, and I make healthy taste delicious. Happy holidays, everyone.
Merry Christmas.